Redditors with interesting hobbies, what do you do and why? Chemistry. I have a full-on laboratory in my basement. I'm not talking about a science kit. I have over $30,000 invested in it. I used to run an online chemical store from my home. No, I don't make drugs. Amma. 30k invested in laboratory, not making drugs. Bruh. Attention law enforcement. I am not making drugs at all. Not even a little bit. Do not feel the need to investigate me. Don't even investigate a little bit. Regards, Jess Pinkman. Bitch. With my limited physical ability, I think my sunflower garden with a 9 feet 9 inches tall plant is interesting. Go sunflower go. You're gonna go far sunflower. I grow carnivorous plants. They are super interesting, and they get rid of flies. Has one ever bit you? No, and you shouldn't play with the flitrop's bite. It requires a lot of energy to close and can harm the plant. I've never encountered a flitrop, but now I know I shouldn't play with it when I see one. You potentially saved some flitrops' lives. The only place in the world that Venus flitrops occur in the wild is like a 30 square mile area around Wilmington, North Carolina. Man, that shit is crazy to me. One would think they were only found on some tropical rainforest or some shit. The only reason I know this is I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and my 4-year-old's favorite thing to do is go to the Science Museum, which works for me because it's free and great, and they have a carnivorous plant exhibit. They are quite fond of that fact, especially since we are only 12 hours away from Wilmington. Archaeological geophysics to find Roman roads. I managed to find a previously unknown Roman small town. Hey, can you maybe give me some advice how to get into it? Check out globalexplorer.org. Space archaeologist Sarah Parcak made the website with her TED Talk winning prize money. She uses aerial satellite photos to identify things like looting pits, ancient roads, geoglyphs, and potential dig sites. On the website you identify whether you see those things or not, and if a photo gets enough positive identifications, then her team of professionals will take a look and consider excavating there. Edit. Org. High school teacher and musician. I built a little project studio a few years ago in my basement. I've now helped a few young rock and roll bands get demos recorded to get them gigs. Some of the players have been astounding, all have been appreciative, and it is a great way to see what kids are up to outside of school. Turns out I really like producing music that isn't mine. Real life school of rock. Love it. Well, minus the felonies I'd assume. Beekeeping. It's fascinating to learn more and more about the complex life the bees have. Also, it is incredibly rewarding to eat honey that was made by your bees with the flowers and trees in your own garden. Edit. Typo. That's amazing. Keen to get into that actually. Please do. It's awesome. And r/beekeeping is a wonderful community too. I build stone walls on my property here in Vermont. Weekends are spent walking deep into the forest which surrounds me and search for rocks to pry out of the earth. I try to find the largest which I can safely carry and give them a bear hug and carry them back to the wall in process. There's something incredibly satisfying building with stone, no mortar, and finding that perfect fit, as though that rock has been waiting for thousands of years for this purpose. Sometimes the fit is so good that I start back in amazement and look around as though to ask, did you see that? Even if no one saw, that's still cool. I've hiked through Vermont and always wondered about all those stone walls. I figure everyone has a different purpose and history, but building them kinda boggles my mind. So much effort. The soil is lousy with rocks, so the early farmers had to do something with them. Think of how they had to clear the land of trees, axes, handsaws, oxen teams, and then clear out all the damn rocks. I blacksmith as a hobby, cause I'd like to make it my profession. I have 5 iridium bars in cash. Can you upgrade my watering can? I have 20 geodes in cash. Can you turn them into 19 rocks and 1 coal? Read that as geodudes, and I was like, whoa, this guy's Pokemon trains. I have 10 emeralds. Can I get a block of dirt? Best I can do is 5 raw fish and an emerald for 5 cooked fish. I started making a little aluminum forge from a YouTube video and melted down a ton of cans. My creativity muscles are pretty well atrophied, so I have a blob of aluminum. Then, I decided to forget the forge and see if I could make a wood fire in my fire pit hot enough to melt aluminum. Did that about a month ago. Last weekend, I decided to go for copper and succeeded. I still don't know what to make, so I have another blob of metal. So, I wouldn't say I'm a blacksmith, but I can melt stuff with wood fires. Maybe my hobby is seeing if I can make a 2000-degree wood fire in my backyard. So, your hobby is making metal blobs. Maybe you could sell them to blacksmiths. Now you have a business. Yeah, but doesn't turning your metal blob hobby into a business take all the fun out of it? Blob hobby. Blobby. I consolidate history and knowledge about rubber ducks. I can tell you a vast history of my favorite rubber duck design and even own an original mold for one. I compile notes about rubber duck appearances in movies and other media on Wikia. I'm not a huge collector of physical rubber ducks for space reasons, but I do have this rubber duck Christmas ornament collection. Mr. Wheel, I would like to know your location. What exactly is the function of a rubber duck? To clean your butt quack. My little brother farms mealworms and cockroaches very successfully, sells them for a profit, and feeds them to his geckos. Also, he builds terrariums full of mosses and centipedes etc. Edit. He's gonna have fun reading these replies. Smiley face. He can expand the mealworm end by targeting chicken owners too. My girls love mealworms. Good advice. I'll make sure to tell him. I make Rube Goldberg machines for fun and post them on YouTube. I really like the creative freedom it gives me, and they are so rewarding when they work. Edit. Here's the channel for those wondering. If you're into it, I'd recommend looking into all the channels on the sidebar. They make equally great, if not better content. I'm 95% certain you're my upstairs neighbor. Do you by any chance build these machines between 6 AM to 3 AM? Did you mean 3 AM to 6 AM? No, 6 AM to 3 AM. Your upstairs neighbors must have a lot of Adderall. I have a really bizarre hobby that I hide from a lot of people, so I made a throwaway to share it with y'all. I like to help cam models with career development. I help with the SEO writing of profiles, tutor them in English, and get them custom graphics for profiles, and help them with other things that pop up while working as cam models. When I lived abroad, I befriended a bunch of girls working in the sex tourism industry. They would show me around the city and buy me all sorts of food. In return, I started tutoring them in English. Once I moved back to the States, I got a TEFL certification and wanted to teach English abroad. But that didn't work out. Fast forward a few years, some of my friends started getting involved with cam modeling. One of the new girls came from a poorer village and didn't know much English, so I agreed to tutor her as a favor to my friend. Word of mouth spread and more models reached out. I kept doing it because I enjoyed it. After a few changes in the industry and getting to know what the models wanted help with, I started helping out with things like SEO writing, pricing, and other random business related things that are difficult without a strong grasp of English or a bank account in the US. Edit. Whoa, thank you for the gold. You really shouldn't be embarrassed about this. I honestly think this is one of the cooler things mentioned here. Thank you. Unfortunately, when I used to talk about it, most people would initially question my motives. They usually get over it after some explaining, but that gets really old after a while, and some people still think I'm a creep just doing it for sex. Okay, since no one is crass enough to ask, you fuck any of the cam models? Edit. Should silver? This isn't worth silver. If this gets gold, I'll really be up the creek. I guess this is what some people are really wondering. Huh? Nope. In the 5 years I've been doing this, I've never gotten a nude picture, suggestive texts, or anything like that. They're usually more concerned with adapting to urban life, getting through school, helping out family, and stuff like that. And I'm more interested in just being helpful. I sing Gregorian chant. It takes daily practice and much concentration to sing chant stylistically and musically correct, with proper intonation, but its beauty and transcendental qualities are rewarding. Yeah, but how often do you get asked to do the Halo theme? I'm a male knitter. I took it up in honor of a very good friend who died suddenly on the eve of her 31st birthday because of an aortic aneurysm. She would spend all year knitting scarves and hats for the homeless and needy to give out at Christmas. I inherited all her knitting stuff and kept up the tradition in her honor. I've been having my own existential crisis lately, and let me just say hearing this brought me so much peace. Your friend was doing something to change the world, and with her passing she continued to do it, posthumously. Beautiful.